Hello, and welcome back to Brigador. I, as always, am your host, the Social Solipsist, and I believe this is going to be the last episode of Brigador that I post, at least officially, in this series. We're going to do a freelance mission for this last one, since those last three campaign missions are, in my mind, not official, since they're community made. The full details in the last episode if you didn't see that already. I haven't really gone over freelance that much since we've been going through the campaign. I've touched on it briefly on a couple of occasions, glazed over it, but we're going to do a freelance mission, and I'll show you a little bit more detail as well. I will say, if you're at all interested in this, well, if you've made it through all of these episodes, through what is this going to be, 68 episodes, I think, and haven't either stopped watching or bought the game or decided one way or another whether you are interested or not. I'm not sure how I was going to end that thought. Anyway, if you're interested in the game and you haven't bought it, I'm a little confused. You should go ahead and buy it. Great game in general. I mean, for the flaws that I have with the issues that I have with it, and flaws I see in it, and some of the technical hiccups and things, I'm genuinely pretty blown away by this game. And largely what people mostly play is not the campaign. As I've touched on before, mostly people play freelance. There's a lot in this game that I really appreciate, not the least of which is the world building. And I also noticed that I have not been reading off the intel for the various pilots because we don't get to see their lore in the campaign, and I tend not to pay so much attention to it when in freelance mode because I'm looking at the statistical stuff instead. I'm not going to go through and read all of the am I? No. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to. There's a lot in here. I think the intel and the lore pages themselves give what I think is the most important stuff. And while this is, these are all interesting in their own right, I'm not going to do that right now, at least. So, yeah. We're just going to play a freelance mission. So if you didn't catch this already, in one of the previous episodes, I briefly looked at it, but you pick your pilot first, and they have varying levels of difficulty. They have a start difficulty and a max difficulty, and that goes to how many levels there are in the operation that you pick. Some operations are one mission long, some operations are I think there's an operation that is the entire campaign. So, if you really want a challenge, you can do that. They have varying levels. Some of them start at, low levels and go to high ones. Some of them have a standard difficulty all the way through. Increase per level tends to be related to, it's just indicative of how much harder it's going to get on each subsequent level. So I don't actually know if any of them increase in anything less. Oh, no, okay. So she only increases it half a point, or half a difficulty level per level. Although trying to actually quantify that in, in-game spawns and things is difficult in its own right. Anyway, I am... What am I going to play? It depends on the level, but difficulty level 6 is where I start to have more failures than successes. And a lot of that is dependent on the number of missions I have to do as well. So, let's see. I do play Qatar a lot. So we're going to play as her, and then... or a genetic eunuch with a rare hormone imbalance. We're going to play as them. I don't know. And I already picked out a loadout that I wanted to try out because for twofold reasons. One is this is a loadout I haven't tried before, and two, there is an achievement attached to the specific set of weaponry. So I picked the Busker chassis. That was my choice. And then I'm using the Zeus. So the Busker chassis, you get all this information about your stats and things. Obviously, with the ball drive, you get greater rotation speed and those sorts of things, but not so much in the total speed. Anyway, then I'm taking the Zeus, which is the big forward. These all have lore attached to them as well, I guess. So, yeah, this is a rail gun, I think. Let's see. Localized magnetic field. Yeah, that's a rail gun. Pretty broad damage across the board. Then the bone saw, which is, let's see. I'm just skimming this, but oh, the 3-round burst. Yeah, okay. But it's got a lot of ammo attached to it, and then they want it. The achievement asks for camo as well. So we're gonna do. Let's do a random 2 district. Let's just do that. That seems good. So that's my go-to for just. I just want a quick game. So at the end, well, you'll see when we get there. I do like this chassis. It's nice and maneuverable. Now that was louder than I intended to be right off the bat. Ooh, wow, I am getting roughed up pretty good here. This thing does not have a lot of health, so it is something I have to be aware of. Alright, we survived that. It's a little rough, but... trying to clear myself a path. There we go. Actually, I guess this thing has penetration, so I didn't need to worry about that so much, but something I have in mind. Alright. We're just gonna try and scope this map a little bit first. Yeah, I know I could go around, but I don't wanna. Actually, the camo's not a bad choice on this. Oh, I can actually leave already because I killed enough of the commanders. So the question here is, what are the pros and cons of staying and leaving? The longer I stay and the more objectives I complete, the greater my payout. But I am going to get out of here because I'm already at half health. Oh, shit. Okay, good. That's not an explosive pipeline. That could have been really bad. Really? Dude? Because I am a little squishier than expected, and, as you'll see momentarily, That's weird. I'm not sure why it's showing that as incomplete. Anyway. So this will carry over, as you can see. So I have some ammo used, some lost health, so on and so forth, going into the next mission. Just gonna look around a little bit. Not a lot of folks around here. Don't mind me, citizens. I do wish that the AI was a little less direct. Just generally speaking, because, I mean, that thing wasn't seeing me, but obviously was very much seeing me, because it made a beeline more or less for me. So this thing is actually not too bad on rough terrain. A lot of the tanks can be quite slow. Alright, there's some extra shield. I don't really have a lot of reserve tank on this thing. That's the thing. A lot of the tanks have the upside of, in addition to their normal shield, they have the ability to hold at least 100% more. This really only has about 50% more, as you can see from that light blue bar. I was never here. Oh, that's an emplaced turret. All right. I want to get out of here. Do like how speedy this thing is. Despite it not being the fastest thing, or reporting, I think it was only a 2-pip forward speed, the amount of boost it has is pretty nice. That 100 health, though, is quite low. But it is one of the ones we were just reading about in the intel from the last episode, so shouldn't be entirely surprising. I like this map a lot. There's there's a lot of open space. It's not that easy to traverse, but it's not, it's not, totally urban either. Uh-oh. This might be the end of me. Ooh, that was... Ooh. Okay, I gotta be real careful from here out. I need some quick kills. Get some health back. There we go, there's some. That chemical weapon is... Oop. Nope. Not great. Alright. Where's the last tower? I'm not seeing the icon. Oh, it's over there. Good, it's right by the exit. Looks like. Wait a minute, where'd it go? Oh, it's right here. I really wish they would change that. I looked through the settings. There's no setting to make it appear there, which is unfortunate. Ah, okay. Sometimes you gotta make your own entrance. All right. So you saw from that first one, on the first mission, I only had about 200,000 in payout. If you don't complete all of the districts or all of the missions in a freelance operation, you don't get any of the bonuses. You just get the raw payout from however many missions you did. Like the number that's ticking on your screen as you complete it, that's the number you get. You don't get any pilot bonus, any pilot multiplier, vehicle multiplier. None of that gets paid out. So you can leave, and it's, you know, arguably it's better to get, you know, a few 100,000 than, you know, a few tens of thousands. But at that point, I don't know. I tend to just go for it because payouts are pretty lucrative, you know. Last night after I was finishing up the last recording session and playing a few freelance missions, I easily racked up, you know, 100,000 credits in about an hour of play. The game's pretty generous with its payouts, and as a result, unlocking most everything in the game is pretty quick to do. So yeah, I hope that gives you some better idea of what freelance looks like. These freelance go, you know, all the way up 5 districts, 9 districts, 18 districts. Full linear solo nobre is the, I think the entirety of the core campaign, and then, oh no, yeah. Full linear solo nobre is going through all of the maps in sequence. Campaign run is the entirety of all of the campaign missions in sequence, including all the, you know, specialty loadouts and enemy placement that they do with that. The closed casket special is the legendary nobody does this 39 districts. The true test of a Brigador, theoretically, is to run closed casket special with Precursor James, the all max difficulty all the time. In theory, somebody's done it. I haven't actually seen proof. So, yeah. If you're a real psycho or just the most talented person on Earth, you can theoretically do that. Anyway, to close out this series, we're going to read the last of the intel. Spacer Heavy Agrav Vex. Spacers come in 2 flavors, cruel or dead. And the Vex is cruel, alright, in the proud Spacer Agrav tradition. Dual main mounts, low profile, moves better than it looks like it can. Nasty business. Mainstay of Spacer ground operations. Crew of at least 2, judging by the hatch configuration. Probably dual pilot gunner duties. Advanced combat jack stuff. One of the rare Spacer vehicles you can find decent footage of in action, if you know a guy. You don't want to know that guy. I'm that guy. Cataphract. See those emitters poking out all over the place? Yeah, that's because the standard Cataphract loadout has black hands mounted in triplicate. Puts out so much radiation your insides will melt just looking at it. Technically, the spacers could support all that on a smaller chassis. I suspect the bulk of the thing has to do with combat durability, though I swear that frame was built for a dorsal heavy mount. Maybe the design was pivoted halfway through by some higher-ups who thought they knew better. Spacers are, after all, human. Regardless, I think it's got a kind of elegance, provided you can ignore the screaming, dying masses that follow in its wake. Joust. Dual turret hardpoints. That I haven't seen before. Even spacers have their hot dog pilots, probably more of their share than most, really. Handling an A-grav at high speed and targeting dual turrets, that's a lot to throw down the pipe of a combat jack. I'll be honest though, I've never seen the inside of spacer hardware. Most of us dirt eaters never will. Do they even use cranial jacks? At any rate, I'd watch out for these. Ruthless in the hands of a skilled pilot, I'm sure. Firepower and finesse. Longboard. Even spacers can't resist a good old-fashioned boondoggle. The less than affectionately named longboard has no tricks up its sleeve. It's just as stiff and questionably engineered as it looks. Nice and all that. That's weird and nice and all that. This should be nice in that it can carry. Nice in that it can carry such a massive gun mount, but fixed to the hull. Are you kidding me? One of the most expensive development programs in spacer arms procurement. The contractor overpromised and underdelivered after ludicrous cost overruns. Enough that spacers sent a special forces detachment to put the hurt on several board members of the company. Expensive and ungainly as it is, however, it does carry a whole lot of shielding. Something about the displacement of the shielding is why the big gun mount ended up where it is. There's an odd sort of pride among the very few spacers that will admit to driving these. Prism. Looks like one of those spacer VidStar characters lifting up their skirt, if you ask me. Heavy gun platform and surprisingly ugly for a spacer A-grav. The Prism has been in service only a short while, but long enough to prove itself capable of what it was designed as. Floating, self-propelled gun platform. There's no visible hatch of any kind, which you only see on the autonomous drones, but I don't think this is autonomous. I think they seal a Lucy into the hole for months at a time. That's just my pet theory. Spacer Grav Bike Minder. A floating shield battery with a nasty bit of kit. Roll the tape again and you'll see that minders are equipped with black hands. Same chassis as a bellhop, just with a massive shield generator. Something to do with the shield umbrella tactics and protecting nearby units while drawing fire with its vertical profile. Getting into the pilot hatch when the shield generator unit is mated has to be a pain in the ass. That seems like a real oversight. I'd be happy to do some design consulting work for the spacers if this gig with the SNC plays out right, just saying. Spacer Grav Tank Leverman. Though they are constantly adopting cutting-edge technology, spacers get hung up on stupid stuff like anybody else. The failure of the longboard in its aggressive overcost development program irrationally put them off of grav tank development for a long time, unlikely as it seems to outsiders. Fresh from another successful armor and sensor upgrade package for the stalwart rounder tank, a design team convincingly lobbied to develop a grav tank for a fraction of the cost of the longboard, and won the contract. The Leverman is graceful if slight for a grav tank, and extremely effective fielded by veteran A-grav pilots rather than tankers. They are an increasingly common and unwelcome sight in a number of border wars on the outer colonies. Bolero. Even state-of-the-art anti-grav tech won't save you from a good clean hit from a railgun. Boleros look mean alright, but I was there, camera in hand, when a perfect Zeus hit brought one of these down and that pilot cocoon thing that spacers use just split open, and the pilot slipped out like a yolk from an egg. He seemed more annoyed than afraid. He looked ridiculous, lying in the mud in all that viscous fluid, pale skin and eyes, thin body. He opened his mouth to say something, lips curled in a sneer, but he caught an 8mm round to the jaw. That shut him up all right. I mean, that's flavorful, but I don't think that really told me much about this tank. Arlo. Assault Recon Low Orbit, but everyone calls them Arlos. Spacers love this little gatecrasher. Oxybelly's mechs are too slow to catch anyone by surprise. They're designed for more city killing and heavy siege than breaking lines. But Arlos are so fast they'll punch a hole in your perimeter and kill half the command staff before you even know they're there. It's a match made in heaven for hot dog spacer pilots, fiending to be the first to break through enemy fortifications, first to shed blood. Agile, maneuverable, aggressively stanced, and only as big enough of a shield generator as it needed. A pack of Arlos can take out a Citadel tank on open ground, no problem. Even more terrifying is their ability to wreak havoc within urban confines. Near-perfect lateral thrust makes it almost impossible to corner an Arlo. To corner an Arlo once within city limits. When it said corner an Arlo, I was thinking from the driver's perspective to corner, like to take a corner, rather than to, catch it. Anyway. Real climbers are always jockeying for a spot to pilot Arlos. Shows the appropriate amount of bloodthirstiness to succeed in spacer military hierarchy, which is good, because Arlo pilots have half the life expectancy of any other spacer military. Seeker. Autonomous Spacer Anti-Grav Seeker. Autonomous drone bombs that are deployed to bolster numbers and extend sensor range, especially in difficult urban terrain. Cheap to produce, at least by spacer standards. Their operational lifespan is actually pretty short, but they don't even bother surfacing them, is what I hear. Seekers starting to glitch out get used for target practice during training. Make sure you do the same. One Seeker detonation might do you in like a bombucha, but there tend to be a lot more of them out there. Bellhop. The long-lost spacer cousin to the loyalist Rook. Might look fat and tanky, but it's spry enough, especially since the power plant is rated to carry the weight of a shield generator. The Minder configuration. Generally consigned to a training vehicle in spacer fleets, but we've been seeing more than enough of them in the battlefield. Are spacers as overextended as the loyalists in their own way? Grav Bike Hoker. I know the spacers don't call it that, but I can't find any other designation. Spacer design philosophy is split down the middle between things that are designed within the typical realm of resembling function, as fast A-Grav looks something like a bird. A fast A-Grav looks something like a bird, like the Lexov. And defiant geometric crap like the Hoker. Why is this thing shaped like an expensive saucepan? How does it land? I like to think that some of its lingering push for psyops it is a lingering push for psyops within their design teams. Anyway, the Hoker may only offer fractional protection for the pilot, but it's got speed and that bizarre shape to its advantage. And the last one, Lexov. A light atmospheric anti-grav, better suited far away from the front, and much higher in altitude. There's that spacer perversity for you. They fly them low into war zones like an Arlo, just to make things a little sporting for bored, sadistic pilots. Scout craft like this you've got to watch out for, as there are bound to be bigger friends nearby. And that's the last of it. All the lore, all the intel. That's Brigador. Thank you guys for watching again. If you've made it all the way to the end of this series, I really appreciate it. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's been enjoyable in some way. whether you are or aren't interested in this game yourself. Frankly, it goes so cheap that, I mean, personally, I have the attitude of, if I watch somebody else play through a game and I like watching them play through that game enough, that I'll buy a copy of the game even if I never intend to play it. But that's just me. It's up to you. But the dev team is small. They're clearly passionate. They're, you know, they pay attention to their community. They make something that they clearly care very much about, and I think they should be rewarded for that. So yeah, I've been the Social Solipsist. This has been Brigador, and I'll see you guys next time for something different.